Welcome back to the deep dive. So usually when we sit down to talk about history, we're, looking at old photos, dusting off textbooks.
Right, trying to piece things together from 50 years ago.
Exactly. But today, we are looking at history being made right now.
Yeah.
In real time. And it's happening in a place you might not expect it. The movie theater.
It's so rare, isn't it, that you get a moment in pop culture that feels like a legitimate pivot point.
Yeah.
Usually awards season is just, it's noise. But this feels different. This feels, I don't know, seismic.
That's the perfect way to put it. We're unpacking a massive cinematic milestone today. The film at the center of all this is called The Secret Agent.
I'm sure you've seen the headlines.
Well, for sure. If you've been online at all, you've seen the title. But we aren't here to just, read off a list of nominations.
No, because the statue is just a symbol. We're here to look at what that symbol actually represents for global cinema.
Precisely. Our mission today is to get into the awards buzz, which is huge, and we'll get there, but also the unique and, frankly, bizarre elements of this film.
It's definitely genre-bending.
We're going to talk about this Brazilian moment that's happening in the industry. We have to talk about how the Oscars are actually changing their rules for the first time in decades.
And do we talk about the cast?
Yes. Specifically, a 79-year-old former seamstress who has, almost overnight become this massive pop culture icon.
That is, without a doubt, my favorite part of this whole story. It just challenges everything we think we know about what a movie star is.
It's incredible. Okay, so we have a lot to get through. We've been looking at all the coverage, interviews with the lead actor, Wagner Moura, production notes.
And those notes explain some of the very strange things in this movie.
They do. But let's start at the top. The headline news. Wagner Moura.
The man of the hour.
Most of our listeners know him. They know that intensity he brings to every role. But the Academy has finally caught up. Wagner Moura has been nominated for Best Actor. Now, we see first-ever headlines a lot.
Yeah.
But can you put this into context for us? Just how big is this first?
It's monumental. To really get the weight of this, you have to look at the numbers. The Academy Awards have been around for nearly a century.
It's 100 years.
Almost. And Brazil has this rich, incredible history of cinema. You think of Cinema Novo in the 60s, or that explosion of talent with City of God.
Of course.
And in all that time, Wagner Moura is the first Brazilian ever nominated for Best Actor.
That word ever, it hangs in the air, doesn't it? It seems like it must be a mistake.
It feels like a statistical anomaly, you're right. But that's why this breakthrough is so important. It's a heavy thing to carry, You're not just representing your film, you're representing an entire culture.
And I noticed in the interviews, he's not making it about himself.
No, not at all. He keeps turning the I into we. He calls it a beautiful moment for Brazilian culture. And that's not just PR talk.
Right.
If you look at the timeline, this isn't an isolated incident. This is part of a bigger wave.
You're talking about that winning streak, because this feels familiar. We were talking about something similar just last year.
We were, exactly. Think back to last year's ceremony. The film I'm Still Here made history. It was the first Brazilian film to win Best International Feature.
Which was a huge, ceiling-shattering moment.
Huge. So you have that win, and then just a year later, boom, you have Moura's nomination for The Secret Agent.
So it's a 1-2 punch.
It's a coordinated offensive, really. In the film world, attention is currency. One win gets you a meeting. A streak like this, it gets you a permanent seat at the table. It tells the world to pay attention.
And for Moura himself, this didn't just come out of nowhere with the Oscar nod. He's been building towards this.
Oh, it's been a slow burn of accolades, which is usually the sign of a performance that has real legs. Before this, he'd already won Best Actor at the Cannes Film Festival for the role.
Which is seen as the more, high art festival.
Exactly. Cannes gives you the artistic credibility, and he also took home a Golden Globe. So this Oscar nomination is really the final piece. He's checked every possible box.
Okay, so the pedigree is undeniable. But I want to switch gears and talk about the actual film. Because when you say Oscar-nominated historical drama set during a military dictatorship, I think we all have a very specific picture in our heads.
Oh, absolutely. Somber music, rain, men in trench coats whispering in alleys.
Right. Serious, heavy, maybe a little dry. But from everything we've read, The Secret Agent seems to be aggressively rejecting that.
It's doing everything in its power to dismantle that stereotype. It is wildly different.
So let's set the scene. Brazil, 1977. What's the atmosphere like?
It's incredibly dark. This is the height of the military dictatorship, so you're talking about intense repression, censorship, disappearances. just this pervasive feeling of fear.
And Moura plays a character named Armando, who's a man on the run.
He is. So the skeleton of the plot, the bones of it, that's a classic thriller. A man trying to survive a system that wants to crush him.
Okay, so far so standard. But this is where the genre-bending part comes in. Because you have this backdrop of political persecution, but the sources say the director was pulling references from Jaws.
Yes, the shark movie.
Help me connect those dots. How do you get from a dictatorship in South America to a mechanical shark off the east coast of the U.S.?
It sounds completely absurd on the surface, doesn't it? But it's actually brilliant filmmaking. Think about Jaws. For most of that movie, you do not see the shark.
Right, you just see the fin or the barrels.
You see the water moving, you hear that music. The fear is all in the implication of the threat.
Ah, so the dictatorship is the shark.
The dictatorship is the shark. In 1977 Brazil, the threat was everywhere and nowhere at the same time. You didn't know if your neighbor was an informant, if a parked car was watching you. You couldn't see the monster, but you knew it was circling.
That is such a smart way to make history feel urgent instead of just sad.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it visceral.
It taps into that primal fear of being hunted.
But then we have to talk about the other thing. The thing that made me check our sources twice, because I thought it was a typo.
I think I know where you're going with this.
The urban legend. The hairy leg.
The hairy leg.
Please, for anyone listening who thinks they just misheard us, explain the hairy leg.
It is fantastic. So in the film, amidst all the spies and the soldiers, there's this pervasive urban legend going around the city about a disembodied hairy leg that attacks people.
That is so specific and so B-movie. I love it.
It is. And in any other serious Oscar contender, a producer would have cut that page from the script immediately. It just sounds like tonal whiplash.
So why is it in there? Is it supposed to be funny?
It's both funny and terrifying, and that's the whole point. What the commentary on the film says is that life, even in the middle of a tragedy, doesn't stop being weird. In fact, suppressed societies often generate the wildest rumors because nobody trusts the official news. When the newspapers are censored, the grapevine just goes crazy.
That's a fascinating point. When you can't talk about the government, you talk about the monster under the bed.
Yeah.
Or the leg in the alley.
Exactly. It grounds the film in the specific chaotic texture of the time. It's not just a history lesson. It's a snapshot of the collective imagination of 1977 Brazil.
It's like the film is saying this whole situation was so insane, only an insane story could really capture it.
That's it. And Moura has a great quote that kind of anchors all of this. He says that amidst the shark references and the hairy leg, the film is fundamentally about a man sticking to the values that he has when everything around him says the opposite.
That's the core of it.
Right. Whether the opposite is a repressive government or a society that believes in killer legs, his character is just trying to hold on to his own moral compass.
Which is so hard to pull off.
Yeah.
But if you're going to make a movie with that many different tones, you need a cast that can handle it.
And that brings us to the second historic thing about these nominations. Because The Secret Agent didn't just get the Best Actor nod, it got 4 nominations total. And one of them is for a category that is literally brand new.
Achievement in casting.
This is a huge deal for the industry. You have to understand, the Academy moves at a glacial pace. They do not like change. This is the first new competitive category they've added in 25 years.
Quarter of a century. Wow. An entire generation of filmmakers has come and gone with the categories basically set in stone.
Exactly. And for years, casting directors have been lobbying for this, arguing that what they do isn't just admin, it's an art form, it's world building.
So why this movie? Why is The Secret Agent the poster child for why this award is so needed?
Because it shows the full range of what casting does. It's not just about getting a star like Wagner Moura. It's about the faces in the crowd, the texture. Moura talked about this a lot. He said the casting team found people who represent the reality of Brazil.
He mentioned diversity, but not in that corporate checklist kind of way.
No, he was very specific. He talked about the diversity of body shape, skin color. He said that's what Brazil is, a very diverse place.
That really resonates. Because you've seen those historical movies where every single person looks like they just walked out of a salon.
The Hollywoodization of history.
Yeah. The teeth are too white, the skin is too perfect, it breaks the illusion. But if you're telling a story about real struggle in 1977, you need faces that look like they've actually lived a life.
You need that grit. And this film's casting director went out and found that grit in the most unexpected place imaginable.
Okay, this is honestly my favorite part of this whole deep dive.
Yeah.
We have to talk about the breakout star of the film.
Tanya Maria.
Tanya Maria. For anyone who hasn't seen the trailer yet, who is she? A legend of Brazilian theater.
Not even close. Before this movie, Tanya Maria was a 79-year-old seamstress.
A seamstress, not an actor.
A seamstress, not in the industry, not looking for fame. A casting director, again, this is why that new award is so important, just saw something in her. And they just plucked her from her life and put her in a major motion picture opposite Wagner Moura.
That is such a massive risk for a director. You're betting your whole production on someone who's never had to hit a mark or memorize a script.
A huge risk. But it paid off spectacularly. The sources describe her as having this big presence, even though she's a very small woman, a total scene stealer.
And the reaction in Brazil has been explosive.
That's putting it mildly. She has become a full-blown phenomenon. I mean, we're talking about a woman who spent her life hemming pants, and now she is starring in commercials for Burger King.
Laughs. From the sewing machine to the Whopper. You can't make that up.
It's the dream. But it shows how much audiences crave that kind of authenticity. They see her, and they don't just see acting. They see a real person.
And Moura made a prediction about her, right? About her cultural impact.
He did, yeah, about Carnival. He said, for sure you're going to see many people dressing up like her during Carnival in Brazil.
And we should explain, for anyone listening outside of Brazil, being a carnival costume is basically the highest civilian honor you can achieve.
It's the peak of pop culture. It means you're not just a character anymore. You are part of the cultural fabric of the country.
It's just such a joyful story inside a movie about such a dark time.
But I think that's the secret sauce. That's why this movie is connecting with people. If it were just 2 hours of misery, it would be too hard to watch. But it gives you the full spectrum.
The terror and the joy.
Exactly. You have the high-stakes political thriller, you have the surreal humor of the hairy leg, and you have this heartwarming discovery of a real person in Tanya Maria. It's messy, but history is messy.
That's a really profound point.
Yeah.
We try to clean up history in movies, We want clear heroes and villains. But living through 1977 probably didn't feel logical at all.
No. It probably felt like a nightmare mixed with a sitcom mixed with a tragedy. And this movie is brave enough to show all of it.
So, to bring it all back,
Yeah.
we have The Secret Agent. We've got a historic barrier broken by Wagner Moura, a win for him and a huge win for the Global South. We've got a film that completely defies the boring history movie label by just embracing the weird.
And a masterclass in casting that proves you don't always need famous faces to make a famous movie. Sometimes you just need the right face.
It's a remarkable package.
It really feels like Brazilian cinema isn't just having a moment. It feels like it's entering a new golden age. It's confident, it's bold, and it's finally getting the recognition it deserves.
And for the listener who is now very intrigued by the hairy leg or just wants to see the legend Tanya Maria,
the movie's out there. It is rated R-SOBI. Warned, it does get intense, and it is playing in theaters right now.
Before we sign off, I want to leave everyone with one last thought. We talk about how weird this movie is, the urban legends, the Jaws stuff. It makes me wonder about the relationship between truth and fiction. We think of history as the cold, hard facts. But when what really happened is so terrifying that you can't even speak about it directly, maybe the only way to tell the truth is to make up a story about a monster.
That's a powerful idea. Maybe surrealism isn't an escape from reality. Maybe in a dictatorship, surrealism is the only language that reality has left.
A weird story for a weird world. If you go see The Secret Agent, let us know if the leg is as scary as they say. Thanks for diving in with us.
Thanks for listening.
Catch you next time.